Hello, everybody. Here's Christian Lamitschka for Country Music News International. Today on the show, we have the one and only
Hannah Anders.
Hannah, it's the first time here for you on Country Music News International.
Yes.
And can you please introduce yourself a little bit more and telling us about how you came to the country music business, what kind of music you're playing, and so on and so on.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Georgia, not far from good old Nashville. And I grew up really exposed to all kinds of music, and country music obviously being a huge part of the culture here in the South. And when I moved to Nashville, I was 18 and had sung my whole life, had started writing when I was a teenager. And as I kind of started to develop as an artist, everything that I wrote came out country. It wasn't even really a choice. It was just so ingrained in who I was. And so I was in Nashville for a few years and writing and doing my first projects, and then moved to Los Angeles, where I spent a few years and put a band together. And really that's where I honed my live performance ability and started to tour over to Europe. And then just recently relocated back to Nashville about a year ago, and the band came with me from LA. So we're all here now.
When you said you toured Europe, you toured just the UK or outside of the UK too?
We did the UK and Ireland the first couple of trips, and would be like our greatest dream to keep going out into Europe. And we had an agency there, and then with all of the changes in the UK recently, there have been a little changes on our end from the bookings, but we would love to get back over there and continue spreading out.
So when someone likes to book you now, what's the best way?
So the best way would be to go to the website, which is hannahanders.com, and Hannah is H-A-N-N-A-H. There's an H on the end. And there is a contact there for the booking agent, as well as my publicist. And of course, there's always Facebook. And you're welcome to send a message through our Facebook page, which is Hannah Anders Music.
So Hannah, just a question. When a fan like to know something personal about you, I believe the best way will to call you on your cell, or
send me a Facebook message. And we'll go from there. Let's see if I'll give my cell out at that point.
Folks, as you know, it is always the same. We have the phone numbers, and send us the check. The highest always win.
Oh, hey, all right, yeah.
But before I forget it, a minimum is $1,000.
I see, now I'm on board with the cell phone thing. Okay, I like it.
So, but anyway, let's talk about what's the difference between LA and Nashville music and then Europe?
You know, I find Nashville to be such a specific kind of place for music. We really, which I think is a beautiful thing, we really emphasize the songwriter here in Nashville. We really emphasize original music here in Nashville. I think that that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Los Angeles obviously is not country music dominated. You're more in the rock and pop music world. But the energy is a little different because they're two completely different cities, obviously. But I really found, like I said, when I was here in Nashville, I felt very nurtured as a songwriter. And when I went to Los Angeles, I felt very pushed as a performer. And so I feel, for me, from a music standpoint, obviously there's vast differences between these two cities, all the way down to the, food you can get. But from an artist standpoint, that's really where I felt the difference. And being over in Europe, I think that the thing I loved so much is that there seems to be a very open-minded mentality about music. And you've got real fans of music, not country or rock or pop, even though people do they have their preferences. But I found that we felt so welcome everywhere, and that people were open and excited to hear something they hadn't heard before. And that was such a cool environment to go into, because the American market is very saturated, and we're very fortunate that way. But I felt over there that people were so like I said, open and excited to listen to you. And several venues who had promoted us prior to the show, people were coming up and saying, this is where I like to come hear music. And we actually looked you guys up. We saw you were coming. I don't think in a single show in my time in the United States, I've had someone come up and say, we checked you out beforehand and loved it, and so we came to hear you. So there's this just kind of still this sort of lost art of being open to new music that isn't necessarily on radio or, that we found over there. And I thought that was so cool.
Awesome. By the way, someone told me you can cook.
Who told you that? I love to cook.
You laugh. See, I was right with this information. What's your favorite you like to cook?
Oh, I've got a few things. I really love to bake. Obviously, I have to be careful with the baking. That gets a little dangerous. This is going to sound really like a very basic thing to cook, but I make a really good rotisserie chicken. I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but it's probably my favorite thing. I feel like I'm half chicken. I eat so much chicken in my diet. I make a really good chicken, and I bake really well. But like I said, I have to be careful.
Well, see, I can bake Christmas cake. Oh, yeah. And last year I didn't bake one because I know when I started baking, it holds probably 2 days because in the morning, lunchtime, coffee time, dinner.
Yes.
I cannot eat it the whole time.
What is in Christmas cake?
What is a Christmas cake?
Yes.
Oh, how to explain it? You have orange nut, citronut inside, and everything else. And so it is a typical German thing. We call it in Germany Weihnachtsstollen. I don't know.
That was going to be my first guess.
Yeah. Probably you can Google it, give a translation because I cannot explain it better. But next time you're in Germany, be sure it is Christmas and come to my place and make sure you are not doing a diet or anything else. I promise I will not do it too.
Okay.
So
I'll bake a chicken, you make Christmas cake.
yes.
Okay.
So
done.
we have a deal, folks. And everybody on Country Music News International, we keep you posted when she's at our office with the big cooking show. So you can all come to ours and then we see what we can do for you.
I like it. Good plan.
So my name is Christian Lamitschka for Country Music News International.